The ocean remembers everything. In its deepest trenches, where light has never touched stone, something ancient stirs. You hear it first as a whisper beneath the waves, words in languages that predate human civilization, carried by currents that flow between worlds. Tonight, these waters speak of Forneus, the great Marquis, whose dominion spans both the crushing depths and the delicate art of human persuasion. Imagine standing at the edge of a midnight shore, where foam crashes against jagged rocks in patterns that seem almost intentional. The salt spray carries more than moisture. It bears the essence of knowledge so profound that scholars throughout history have risked their souls to obtain it. For in those depths dwells a being who transforms enemies into allies with mere words, who teaches the secret languages that bend reality itself. What would you sacrifice to possess such power? What price would you pay to speak with the tongue that reshapes hearts and minds? If these ancient mysteries captivate you, join our circle of seekers. Subscribe to dive deeper into the forbidden knowledge that shaped our world. In the legendary grimoire known as the Lesser Key of Solomon, among 72 great spirits bound by the wise king's authority, Forneus holds the 30th seal. This placement is no accident. 30 carries the weight of divine judgment and transformation. As a great Marquis of the infernal hierarchy, he commands 29 legions of spirits, each bound to his will by chains forged in the primordial waters of creation. Solomon's seal depicts him not as the horned beast of medieval imagination, but as something far more unsettling, a creature emerging from stylized waves, his form shifting between the familiar and the utterly alien. Ancient texts describe the ritual circle required for his summoning, symbols that mirror the movement of tides, words that echo the first sounds ever heard in the ocean's womb. The wise king understood what modern minds have forgotten, that true power lies not in domination, but in the subtle art of influence. Forneus embodies this principle perfectly. Unlike demons of wrath or destruction, his strength flows like water, finding the smallest cracks in human resistance and widening them until walls of hatred crumble into bridges of understanding. Medieval scholars noted a peculiar detail. His seal must be drawn with ink mixed from seawater, and the summoning performed only when the tide turns. This connection between Forneus and the ocean's rhythm suggests something profound about the nature of persuasion itself. It cannot be forced, only guided like the eternal dance between moon and sea. When Forneus manifests to those brave enough to call upon him, he appears as a creature from humanity's deepest nightmares and most ancient memories. Picture a being whose form defies earthly categorization, part whale, part serpent, with appendages that might be tentacles or might be arms, depending on the angle of observation and the sanity of the observer. His eyes hold the accumulated wisdom of creatures that swam in primordial oceans when the earth was young. They reflect not malice, but something far more disturbing. Complete understanding of every secret current that flows through the human heart. Ancient texts speak of his voice as the sound of waves breaking against unseen shores, carrying harmonics that resonate in the deepest chambers of the mind. The ocean has always been humanity's greatest mystery. It gave birth to all life, yet remains largely unexplored. Forneus embodies this paradox. Familiar as water itself, yet utterly alien in his ancient intelligence. Sailors throughout history have reported encounters with massive forms moving beneath their ships, shapes that seem to watch with terrible patience. What makes Forneus truly unsettling is not his monstrous appearance, but the way he bridges two realms that should never meet: the crushing depths of the abyss and the delicate complexity of human language. He represents the ocean's attempt to understand the land, to touch the world of air and words with tentacles meant for pressures that would instantly destroy any land-dwelling creature. How does a creature of the deep sea become the supreme teacher of rhetoric and languages? This question haunts every scholar who studies Forneus, for it reveals something profound about the nature of communication itself. In the ocean's depths, sound travels differently. It bends, echoes, and transforms in ways impossible in air. Perhaps this is where Forneus learned that words, too, can be shaped to travel impossible distances and reach the most guarded hearts. Ancient grimoires credit him with the ability to teach any language to those who dare approach his throne beneath the waves. But these are not merely human tongues. Forneus knows the pre-Babel language that could reshape reality through pure sound, the dolphin speech that carries emotional truth across vast distances, and the whale songs that tell stories spanning centuries. Medieval mystics believed that each language carries its own magical properties. Hebrew opens channels to divine wisdom, Latin binds spirits to service, and Greek unlocks the secrets of philosophy. But Forneus teaches something more dangerous, the universal language of persuasion that works regardless of the listener's native tongue. This is the speech that bypasses rational thought and speaks directly to the primal brain. Consider the ocean's power of erosion. Water seems gentle, yet given time, it carves through solid rock. Forneus teaches this same principle applied to human resistance. His students learn to speak with the patience of tides, wearing down opposition not through force, but through the inevitable persistence of water finding its level. The most remarkable and disturbing of Forneus's abilities is his power to transform enemies into friends. This is not mere diplomacy or clever negotiation. Ancient texts describe a fundamental alteration of human hearts, as if bitter poison were transmuted into sweet wine through arcane chemistry. Imagine the implications. Throughout history, blood feuds have torn apart families, nations have waged war for generations, and personal hatreds have poisoned entire communities. Yet Forneus claims the ability to dissolve these ancient grudges with the same ease that salt dissolves in water. Medieval accounts tell of summoners who brought warring lords before the demon's presence, only to watch centuries of hostility evaporate like mist before the morning sun. But what is the true mechanism of this transformation? Some scholars suggest that Forneus reveals hidden connections between enemies, showing them how their hatred actually stems from wounded love or frustrated understanding. Others believe he manipulates memory itself, drowning bitter recollections in waves of induced amnesia until only positive associations remain. The most unsettling theory proposes that Forneus doesn't change hearts at all. He simply reveals the artificial nature of human enmity. Perhaps our hatreds are like foam on ocean waves, dramatic and seemingly substantial, but ultimately insubstantial when viewed from the depths of true understanding. If this is true, then Forneus's gift is not transformation, but revelation, showing us the ocean of connection that always existed beneath the surface storms of our surface minds. The rituals for calling upon Forneus are preserved in manuscripts that smell of salt and age. The summoner must approach the sea at the precise moment when day surrenders to night, when the boundary between worlds grows thin as sea foam. A circle is drawn in the sand with a blade that has never drawn blood, while words older than any human language roll from the tongue like waves across shingle. Those who have attempted such summonings report a peculiar phenomenon. As the ritual reaches its climax, the ocean itself seems to participate. Waves begin to move in unnatural patterns, creating geometric formations that hurt to observe directly. The water grows darker, not with the absence of light, but with the presence of something that drinks illumination itself. When Forneus finally emerges, he demands payment for his teachings. Unlike demons who crave souls or blood, his price is more subtle and perhaps more terrible. He requires the summoner to surrender one cherished hatred. The bitter comfort of familiar enmity must be dissolved in his presence, leaving the petitioner naked of the defensive anger that once defined them. Medieval accounts describe the aftermath of successful summonings. Those who received Forneus's teachings found themselves changed in ways they hadn't anticipated. Their newfound powers of persuasion came coupled with an inability to maintain personal grudges. They could turn any enemy into a friend, but they could no longer be certain which of their friendships were genuine and which were products of their own supernatural influence. As our journey through the depths of Forneus's mystery draws to a close, we find ourselves not with answers, but with deeper questions. The great sea demon's gifts seem to offer everything humanity has ever desired: the power to end conflict, to bridge any divide, to speak in tongues that unlock every heart. Yet something in the ocean's eternal rhythm whispers warnings about the price of such power. Consider the ocean itself. Vast, patient, ultimately unknowable. It connects every shore yet belongs to none. It gives life yet claims it with equal indifference. Perhaps Forneus embodies this same paradox. His teachings promise to make us masters of human connection, but at the cost of our own capacity for genuine human emotion. The waves continue their eternal dance, carrying secrets between depths and surface, between one shore and another. In their rhythm, some claim to hear echoes of Forneus's voice, still teaching, still offering his dangerous gifts to those brave enough to wade into waters that promise transformation but guarantee nothing. What remains when every enemy becomes a friend through supernatural influence? What is the value of connection that flows from arcane manipulation rather than authentic understanding? The ocean keeps its counsel, and Forneus, like all great mysteries, leaves us with questions that cut deeper than any answer could heal. The tide turns, as it always has, as it always will, carrying our curiosity toward shores we may never reach, depths we may never fathom. The depths hold many more secrets, fellow seekers. Subscribe to continue our journey through the mysteries that shaped human understanding. What ancient entity would you dare to encounter next? Share your thoughts in the comments. Perhaps your curiosity will guide our next expedition into the unknown.